Hi everyone, a massive warm welcome to today's Altcoin Bible, the episode every single Wednesday where I check out 3 crypto charts and break down my cherry ripe, one to watch, and danger zone. I've got 3 beauties for you today: Link, Litecoin, and ALGO. Not sure whether you can guess which one is which just yet. We'll get into that in 2 seconds. I'm going to provide some context around what's happening in the broader market, because we saw quite a nice reaction this morning with Bitcoin moving, I think it was 4% last time I checked, off the low. Yeah, so about 4.4% off this low area. So that's really positive. That's had a great effect across the entire market. Ethereum and then in turn altcoins are really, I don't want to say running, but we're seeing a positive bounce, positive reaction here at these levels. So in just a general sense, Bitcoin is trying to bottom along this area. Whether we've seen the final low yet, I'm not sure, but this is what you do want to see. We want to see, some strength from bulls at least off this level. It does look like we want to go up towards this. I've drawn a rising channel here because it's very similar to what we've seen previously before Bitcoin's had another move lower. But until that happens, we're just going to have to see how this plays out, what reaction we get at these higher levels. I think 17,000, 17,500 is likely to be hit in this instance. And again, we're going to have to see the reaction up at these levels. We also have on this blue line, the Federal Reserve coming out with their guidance. It's either an interest rate rise or the inflation rate. I believe it is their interest rate rise, which is pegged at 0.5% consensus, but don't discount a 0.75, which could rockle this these well-laid plans that we have for crypto. But that's the context I want to provide for you just there quickly. Also, I want to touch on Ethereum's chart, because when Ethereum begins to move alongside Bitcoin, Ethereum should be moving a bit more. So there you go. It's almost at 6% there, bouncing beautifully off this volume support. Why I'm showing you Ethereum's charts, not because it's one of my cherry ripe danger zone or one to watch. It's because, again, when Ethereum moves with a little bit of conviction along with Bitcoin, the cryptos underneath it, ERC20 tokens, so that's cryptos built on top of Ethereum, as well as other cryptos outside of ERC20, they generally see a positive move upwards. So that's really nice to see that. And Ethereum probably wants to challenge up to these high areas around about that 200 daily moving average. Oh, excuse me, not on the daily. We are on the 4-hour. Yeah, I would definitely see if we can close above this red line here, then we'll probably come up to these volume supports here. But still, a lot of water to get under the bridge in terms of this overhead resistance. All right, let's get into my cherry ripe. Now, it is exactly the same as last week, because Litecoin, I think, just looks tremendous here. There are some other cryptos that look really good, but let's focus on Litecoin because it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. See here, I've left the actual drawing that I had from last week, and I think I used this in one of our other videos we had during the week. But Litecoin did exactly what I wanted to do in terms of a pullback to support, previous resistance now turned support. So you can see down here, Litecoin butted into this purple line, butted in over here, and then ran into it again. For Litecoin to really have a more expansive move, it wanted to get above it, then retrace and retest it as now support. So resistance turn support, always a really positive sign. So all this price action underneath here is, I don't want to say null and void, but now we're in a new range. We're between here, rather, $73 and let's say the psychological level of $100. This is what we want Litecoin to do to move high. See a nice retracement, people take some profits out, late longers get a little bit wrecked, and then you have that nice pullback. So really, really like what it's doing here. RSI is just shaping up to almost hit the power zone at 70. So I like that. If we turn on the volume profile on the right-hand side, not a heck of a lot of volume between here and 100, which is great for Litecoin because there's a gulp of oxygen here, which gives it a lot of runway to move up to that level. Now, having said that, while I think Litecoin is, in this environment can reach that 33% gain up to 100, we just want to be careful, going too much higher than that. I think it can get up there. A lot of eyeballs are on this at the moment, but at that point, you're going to face some serious overhead resistance. And I think you really would see something similar to that, a run in there, a decent pullback, looking at some Fibonacci levels. So you might have something like this. Then you'd look at these levels and see bang, 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 bang. You tend to find that these psychological levels, 100 or those whole numbers, as well with key, which is confluent with key support or resistance. You can see over here on the left-hand side, this level was huge before the breakdown in May, June. So this coming up underneath is going to be really tough, but that doesn't discount why this is my cherry up this week, because it has such a good runway to move up there to that resistance level, which is a 33% gain, which is pretty incredible in any market, let alone crypto when it's in a bear market. But yes, watch Litecoin very, very closely, because I think it looks terrific here. So Litecoin, Link is my one to watch. Now this is a little bit noisy, but I'll just quickly zoom out here and then build in from what I want to show you. Link was in this very clearly defined range. So the theme of this episode is probably ranges. You can see here $6.30 there up until about $9.30, very clearly defined with the high there, and the lows here very clearly oscillating around this line. Bang, 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 bang. Now, Link is heading into a staking upgrade. So that is a fundamental bit of news that I wanted to share with you. The reason why it is my one to watch, because generally in these periods of the market, liquidity is searching for that next narrative catalyst. You could also point out Dogecoin, that's looking quite strong as well because of the Elon effect with 2 to 2.0, likely merging it with payments. Again, highly speculative, but it doesn't matter. That's the narrative. So that's likely going to run in the short term if the broader market shows some strength. So we're looking at Chainlink here. You can see very clearly defined in this range. We came down, a bit of a fake out beneath. We've climbed back inside these two lines. So we're back in this range. What I like as well is it's climbed back above the 0.786 Fibonacci retracement. Now I'm going to get rid of that to see this more clearly. Right now, Link is above the 21 daily moving average, that blue line there, and the 200 daily moving average, which is that red line there, which means 200 of these candles you see green and red, it's the average of 200 of those candles. You see that red line there. That is a really big metric to get, or indicator to get above. It tried a few times over here, but just couldn't, failed at resistance. So yeah, previous crypto I was talking about Litecoin, I was talking about serious overhead resistance. This is not going to be easy. $9.42, you can see, bang, bang, bang. And now we're going to have another run at it again. So we're on top of this volume support. This is an excellent platform to move higher. Would not be surprised to see us have another little pullback here. So if you missed out on this move, you can look to these areas, maybe lower $7, maybe a little bit lower to the 21 moving average, $6.60. We have a bigger dump because we are running into a bit of resistance here. But broadly, if you're looking at this over the next few weeks, this does look like a really nice setup to have a 30% run towards that area where we'll look to try and break it, I think, with the impending staking upgrade. So that's what I like to see. I love that it also came back and retouched the 0.786 here on that 21. So a lot of confluent indicators pointing that this is showing a bit of strength here. Also the RSI, it is building. It's looking nice and it's heading up towards higher strength areas. But for a longer term investor, you'd really want to see this top level, like Litecoin, breach through it. Very similar to this. I'll just do a description like that. Come back, test it, this previous resistance as support, and then it can go higher on a higher high, higher low trend. So that's definitely what you want to see. Right now, we're in a range and we're speculating it's going to go to the top of the range. That is all. Okay, and my danger zone for the week is Algorand. Now there are a couple of cryptos like this, and I can't bag Cardano again this week, even though it looks just as horrible. So I'm going over to Algorand because this, to me, you could look at this and go, okay, it's really, really low. This might be a good time to DCA, but you just want to be quite careful on that because it is below all major indicators of strength and support. So in that respect, it's in no man's land. In fact, it's worse than no man's land. It looks very clearly like it has no strength about it, and it probably wants to still ground out the low, or it wants to go a bit lower before it finally bottoms out. So I can very clearly see in this range, oscillating, bang, 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 did climb above it for a little bit leading into the World Cup because there was a bit of a narrative around that, got above the 200 daily moving average. But since then, massive dump with the FTX debacle. We came underneath this huge spot. And this box here just represents a very high liquidity zone where there's lots of orders set in here because it's knocked into it so many times. This unfortunately came back up and tested into this range. You can see this wick, this candle going, right, I'll just zoom in a little bit more so you can all see. And on the podcast, this wick is moving much higher, but then it gets sold into heavily and then closes beneath, dumps underneath. And that for me is a pretty solid confirmation that once it's closed beneath here, this big red candle wipes out everything on the left. And then now it's just grinding sideways. It is trying to recover, but the issue right now for Algorand is that it's a very low conviction play that it's going to go higher right now because of the overhead resistance. The 21 moving average, this blue line here, is right above it. Then you've got serious volume support on the right-hand side. Then above it, you've got horizontal resistance at around 28 cents, that liquidity zone that I was telling you about. People are going to look to sell here, or traders are going to come in at least and try and short the hell out of it when it reaches these levels, like Cardano, when it kept running in to that previous support, then turned resistance, kept butting into it, and then it fell down again. Exactly what's happened over here. ALGO really wants to break back into this range, like this, bounce like that around on it, and just move higher in that respect and try and form a new trend. But right now, it's very difficult to think anything other with ALGO that it wants to go lower. And if we just zoom right out, our previous reference is this area over here, back in November 2020. So that's the price action that we're trading in. This is a new, I guess, liquidity zone range where it is stuck in, and it's even trying to lose this at the moment. So there's a lot of air beneath it. But that being said, ALGO I think is going to do reasonably well next year because of the ISO technology it's built upon, because it's compliant with regulators. So these type of cryptos should do reasonably okay, in my opinion, future. That's just my speculation. However, again, we're looking at the shorter term stuff. So just wanted to throw that out there. But yeah, ALGO, like a few others, isn't looking too pretty. You want to have those confluence of indicators pointing you in one direction or the other. And right now, it's just logical sense to me, looking at everything on this chart, that it wants to go lower, and you going into, buying and thinking it's going to go higher in the short term, or longing it because you think it's going to go higher in the short term, is a low probability play. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Doesn't mean the market will fully reverse based on what we're seeing in Bitcoin and Ethereum, sure. But look, these technical levels are still respected. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope everyone listening on the podcast has enjoyed it as well. So have a great day, and we'll catch you again for our next episode. Bye.